In this video, I'll be showing you how to use primitive shapes and layers in Inkscape. There are 4 primary tools that you can use to create primitive shapes, and that is the rectangular tool, the circle and ellipse tool, polygons, as well as spirals. I'm going to go ahead and begin by using the rectangular tool, which is the simplest out of the 4. You can either create a sharp cornered rectangle, which means it has an angle of 90 degrees at the corner, or you could adjust that by modifying the corner radius using the properties for this object and dragging the little nodules that appear to create a rounded effect. The more you drag this, the more it'll appear like a circle if you try to create a smaller object later on. Takes the last object selected, say here, and as you can see here, it's already starting to look like a circle just because the little slider is farther than the center point of the top or bottom side. So I'm just going to drag that a little bit to create a more of a rectangular effect. Can copy and paste the object as well, and by using the selector tool and control dragging you can increase its size but also keep its aspect ratio, meaning that it does not modify how it'll appear, essentially larger or smaller, but its proportion stays the same. I'm going to go ahead and open up the layers context menu now, and currently all of these are on the spiral layer, which I have here. I want them actually to be on a layer called panel, so to create a new layer, press the plus. I'm going to name this panels. You could select for it to be above, below, or even a subset of the current layer. I'm just going to place this above the spiral layer, meaning anything in this layer will appear on top of anything in the spiral layer. Anything below can potentially be hidden by these boxes. Select all of my objects by shift clicking them, and I'm going to move these to the panel layer. You can do this with any object that is selectable. When you are finished with a layer, you can press the lock buttons, and then you will no longer be able to select or even edit the layer. You will not be able to add any changes. I'm going to continue on with the gear system now, which will be using the polygon tool. Again, creating a new layer above this one called gears. The polygon tool is a little bit more interesting. By default, it will have 5 corners. You can always reset it using the brush icon. You need a minimum of 3 corners, 3 vertices to make a polygon. Anything above that, and you will have the option to adjust how far in the middle point between these two will approach the center. You could go for the perimeter, which is just 1, meaning it does not go in, versus going directly inside. I'm going to put it at not a too high number right now, 0.2, and you can always round where it crosses this point, essentially how you would use a Bezier curve versus a Bezier line. You could randomize this to a certain degree as well, so these points are generated at different locations. I try to keep this as close to 0 as possible, and I'm just going to go ahead now and create additional corners for my first gear. Again, Control drag will keep its aspect ratio as you modify it. And I want to rotate this at this point. So just to do that, you would click the object again and rotate it. Modify it so that it does not follow the aspect ratio. You just drag the corner. This could be fine-tuned a little bit more. Just going to go ahead and make a new gear using the same properties by copying and pasting it and decreasing its size. Gonna hide these layers right now so I can reference the gear below. I just simply hid the panel visibility there just so that I could match up this gear at the bottom. It has less spokes and is more pulled into the center. I'm going to go ahead and make those adjustments now and do the same for this last one before I continue with the next step.